to call a meeting of the Williamson County Election Commission to order. Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020, 4 o'clock. We are meeting telephonically, electronically under Governor Bills Lee's Executive Order 16, which has been superseded by Executive Order 34 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Additional measures are being taken to comply with the Tennessee open meeting requirements to allow for public access. However, physical public access will be limited to protect public health, safety, and welfare. I'm going to, under old business, Jonathan made the point that we need to get these minutes a little more timely to review them. So I'm going to defer the minute approval until the next meeting.
As a point of order, Mr. Brown, can we get a roll call for the record?
Correct. I'm sorry. It's Robert Brown, Chair. Phyllis Strife.
Phyllis Strife, present.
Dana Smith.
Dana Smith.
Dana, are you muted? I can't hear you.
Dana Smith, present.
Oh, better. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
And Commissioner Jonathan Duda, present.
And Chad, you want to?
Chad Gray, Administrator of Elections, present.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Duda, or Commissioner Duda. Let's also defer discussion of our policies and procedures. I think we need probably a little more work to do on that. This was a special called meeting just to set the date of the special election of the town of Nellensville to elect 5-member city commission pending adoption of the city manager commission charter referendum on August 6, 2020. Chad, you want to comment on that?
Well, yes, Mr. Chairman, you all probably saw the email that Beth Henry Robertson sent out under her advisement about the timeline to observe for the election dates. The reason we're having to do this prior to the referendum is because of the timing for everything. So we need to set the election date in order for the qualifying deadline and all the other dates to fall in line. But I will point out that we will need to certify the August election on or around August 20 or 21st in order for this timeline to work.
Okay. Does anyone have an issue on certifying the August election on the 20th or the 21st?
Commissioner Duda, I do not.
Dana Smith, I do not.
That is not the last week of August, is it?
No, that would be the week before the last week.
Okay, I have no problem with that. The convention's the last week.
Okay, so we will do that, and a further order of business will set that exact date. But this, we will entertain a motion to establish election day pending that the vote is positive. I guess that's 50% plus one. Is that correct, Chad?
Right. It would be a simple majority for the charter referendum in favor of.
So what we'll be doing was setting an election day, assuming that it passes. If it does not pass, this is mute. This does not go into effect. And election day, according to Beth Henry Robinson, Chad, I noticed that Beth is now the assistant coordinator of elections. Did I miss that promotion, or is that brand new?
No, that's been her title for a long time, actually.
Okay, I didn't know that. I knew she was the person to go to for everything. But
yeah, she's good.
Okay, election day, September 15th, which is the 4th Tuesday after the certification of election day. So this is by law. That would mean the qualifying deadline is August the 11th. Voter registration deadline, August 17th. Early voting period would be August 26th through September the 10th. And Chad, I'm assuming we could just use Nolensville early voting and Franklin early voting at the office, correct?
Right. Yeah, I think it would be appropriate to have early voting in Nolensville for the period. I mean, we can certainly. I don't know if we want to set the dates and the hours yet, but the only caveat also, if for some reason there are just five, is it five? It's five. If there are just five people that file petitions, and barring a write-in candidate, we may be able to have a reduced early voting. So I guess we'll know more about that after August 11th.
Okay. So the notice of election will be sent out on July 21st.
It's going to be sent out tomorrow because of the publication deadline.
Okay. What is today?
Today's the 22nd.
Oh, okay.
That's new about this.
Sorry.
This was the only way we could do it. She said, "Well, you just have to do what you can do."
So the notice will go out July 23rd.
Right.
And then the notice must reflect that at the first election, there shall be elected 5 commissioners, the 3 receiving the highest number of votes to hold office for 4 years, and the other 2, the next highest for 2 years, according to Tennessee Code annotated Section 6-20-101, Section B. Okay, so any questions before we call a motion for that?
I think in proper order, I'll make a motion, and then during the discussion of that motion, I'll make a comment for the record.
Okay, I think the only motion we really need is to set the election day for September 15th.
Okay. I move that we set the special election for the town of Nolensville to elect a 5-member city commission pending adoption of the city manager commission charter referendum, to set that date to be September 15th, 2020.
We have a motion on the table. Is there a second? That motion was made by Jonathan Duda. Is there a second?
I second Phyllis Strife.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I do, Chairman. Commissioner Duda. I want to be clear about the timing of this and make the following comment for the public. This is a situation where several sections of Tennessee Code don't really align well with each other. This is not an ideal scenario, but what we're operating under is Tennessee Code annotated Section 620-102, the timing of the elections for a city manager charter, require us to hold an election on the 4th Tuesday following the certification of the election. That ties our hand to September 15th that we are considering. But Title II, a separate section of state code, provides for all the public notice requirements that are necessary to announce elections and qualification deadline, as I understand it. Under this schedule, ostensibly, we're having an election for the town of Nolensville, excuse me, town of Nolensville on August 6th. The deadline for candidates to file to qualify for potential serving their community in that role is essentially 5 days between August 6th and August 11th. The deadline is August 11th. Further, go ahead.
Just one comment there. Technically, they could go ahead and qualify before the election.
Yeah, that's fine. But the
Practically,
public,
I think Correct.
From a practical sense, this is not an ideal scenario for public engagement, full public engagement. That they won't know the results of the election necessarily until until they mobilize, and that's just not an ideal scenario. No way, no matter how we cut it. But
Yeah.
that's not our doing. I just want to be clear. This is a state mismatch of codes. The second thing is that we are in a position of setting an election conditioned on something in the future maybe happening or not happening. And we are in a position of having to provide a public notice that might be viewed by some as this commission either endorsing or not. Well, either endorsing or this commission's name is now associated with a belief that we believe that will pass. We're just preparing. We're not making that statement at all. I just want to be clear about that. But the public notice doesn't give us the opportunity to say one way or the other that we're just following state law compliantly for public notice for the date that has to be by state law set for the fourth Thursday or Tuesday after the referendum. And I believe the record needs to reflect that we are not taking a position, but rather we're doing our duty to host elections, to operate elections per our duty. And part of that duty requires us to have public notice sent for an election that may or may not happen depending on the will of the voters in Nolensville. We are not participating in that decision.
This is Chairman Brown. Commissioner Duda, that was very well spoken, very well said. And I just want to reiterate, we are not endorsing any vote on this referendum as a commission. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you for putting that into the record.
Yes.
We're trying to abide by the state law, and that's really our only role here. Any other further comments or questions before we call a vote?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to mention to you that in the public notice, it will say that it's pending the August 6th referendum. So it's all hinged on that. So
Can we add any line in there that the commission does not? Is that too complicated to say we are not taking a position in favor or against the referendum as a commission? Or is that adding too much complication?
Well, I ran the well, I don't know. I can find out and try to do something like that. You know, the notices are generally I don't know. This is a little harder to figure out than most of them. But
if it doesn't go against the normal grain of how notices are normally posted, I think that's fine to leave it out. But if we are asked by any of the media, maybe that would be a place for you to make that comment.
okay, well, I can do that.
I think that's a good way to address it.
Also, that the city attorney for the town of Nolensville is aware of what Beth put together and what we all talked about last week on a call. So he is aware of it, and he understands that this is what needs to take place at this particular time. So he understands that this all has to be coordinated, if you will, now, because you can't do it later. So he was with that understanding. So I don't think the town is going to be upset about it, but the public perception, of course, I'm not sure of how that will be perceived. But this is a very unusual sort of situation.
Commissioner Duda, I think you had a comment.
I do. Thank you. I'm agreeable with Chairman the way you've proceeded, and that is we do the vanilla. We do our duty with the public notice the way it's written, and authorize Mr. Gray to respond accordingly if probed or questioned by the media or others.
Okay, I don't think we need to vote on that specific piece, but does anyone, Commissioner Smith or Commissioner Strife, have any qualms or problems with that comment?
None. Strife.
Have any problems either.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to establish September 15th as the election for the town of New Orleans, the town of Nolensville. Sorry about that. We have a motion from Mr. Duda and a second from Ms. Strife. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye, and we will take a roll call vote on this. Commissioner Strife,
Okay, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Duda,
Due to aye.
and Commissioner Chairman Brown votes yes. Motion carries 4-0. I don't think I mentioned earlier, Commissioner Hinkie had a conflict. I think she stated if we needed her for a quorum, she could have jumped on. We did need her for a quorum, so she is not here today. So we have 4 commissioners, which obviously makes a quorum. Okay. Chad, you wanted to discuss the applicable election commission meeting dates relative to candidate qualifying deadline, early voting dates and hours, appointment of poll officials, and locking of absentee ballots for the Nolensville special election. Do you want to make any of those determinations today?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think to be quite honest, our certification meeting we may be able to do all of this at the same time then, because at that point the withdrawal deadline will be over. We'll know exactly kind of what's going on with we'll have an idea of what needs to take place for early voting, and then we can lock the ballot box. I would probably recommend that just one location in Nolensville be used for an election day polling place. I think that would be reasonable for this sort of thing. But I think we probably can take care of it all during that meeting.
Okay, well, that leads us to, and be looking the dates up on my phone, but my phone's being used so that you could talk to us. So the 20th and the 21st are which days?
The 20th is a Thursday, and the 21st is Friday. So
I would
I know you all don't.
I would prefer to meet on the 20th on a Thursday. If anyone else has an objection to that, speak up now. All right, I propose that we establish the next meeting August the 20th, Thursday at 4:00.
Chairman, at that time, that was one of the dates that we were considering for certification of the August 6th results too.
That's correct.
So we'll be doing that all at the same time.
That's correct. But we were trying to decide between the 21st and the 20th. And I'm proposing the 20th. We don't actually need a vote on that, but unless anyone has a problem with the 20th. Chad, would you inform Commissioner Hinkie?
Oh, absolutely. I can email her.
Okay, and then we will, at that meeting, also approve minutes from June 23rd, July 14th, and today.
Okay. All right.
Jonathan, do you think you will be prepared to discuss any policy and procedure recommendations at that time?
Yes, Chairman. Do we have a moment to talk a little bit about that right now?
We can, yes, sir.
I'll need the I'll need the assistance of Mr. Gray or his staff. identified there's 2 counties that have policy and procedures that they utilize and state publicly that their election official of each polling location actually performs an evaluation of all poll officials for each election. So I found that they have them because they published it online, but not the policy and procedure. I'd like to see if we can get a copy of Blunt County Election Commission has poll official evaluations they complete, and Hamilton County as well has an evaluation as well. I'm not certain if Knox or Davidson do, but if you're aware of any others, Mr. Gray, if we, as quickly as we can get those back to us, I know August 6th might be too aggressive in terms of administratively affecting this, Mr. Chairman, but if we have set evaluation criteria from other communities that do work, if you want that to be something we vote on, then we wouldn't be able to do that until our next meeting, August 20th. But I wanted to give you an update of what I had found thus far.
I don't think we're under any pressure to do a vote at the next meeting, but I think a discussion of where we are would be appropriate.
Okay. And with a goal of putting something in place for the November general.
Sure.
Okay. Well, where we're at is I've done some research. I just need some help, Mr. Gray, and maybe if I need to contact the election commissioners of those counties, I would, but you might have better success than me.
Mr. Chairman, I've already corresponded with Hamilton, but I have not corresponded with Susan and Blunt. But I can certainly do that. I don't know if if I'll get an immediate response from her, but I'll certainly throw that out there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other business to bring before the commission at this time? I noticed I had a 5-minute warning that popped up on my screen about 3 minutes ago. So we got about 2 minutes, it seems like, before this WebEx meeting cancels on us.
I just wanted to mention, I assume at this point, unless there's some other reason to meet, we'll all convene at 6:45 a.m. on August 6th down the hall for the counting board.
The earlier, the better.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll try to get them in there and settled and sworn in. And I know Phyllis had some ideas that I talked with her last week about some things around the counting board that I think will be helpful as far as just the organization of it. But
The
we
placement
are pushing 5,000 or 6,000 at least 5,000 ballots that have been sent out. So.
Okay. Commissioner Strife, did you have a comment to make?
Chad has all my suggestions regarding placements mainly, where there's safety and we'll be less criticized if we can comply with some of the standards that are out. So I think he's on the right page.
Okay, thank you. Any other,
Yeah, I just wanted to remind you
Commissioner
that
Smith?
I will not be there on the 6th.
Oh my goodness.
That's moving day for Bryce.
Okay, well, we'll miss you.
I know, I hate it.
Any other comments before we adjourn the meeting? Well, thank you guys for attending. The meeting is now adjourned. We'll see y'all on election day.
All right, thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.